Here's how to solve for f of x, or g of x, or h of x, or whatever letter you have. So here's our first example. We have here f of x, that's how you say it, with the x in parentheses, f of x, and we need to solve for f of 3. Well, what does that mean? Well, basically, x, remember, for a function is what you put in, and y, or in this case, f of x, is what you get out. So here you may notice that this is f of x, but this is f of 3. So what we've done is we've replaced x with 3, which means in this x plus 2 part, we're going to do the same thing. We need to replace x with 3. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to rewrite this top line, but whenever we see an x, we're going to put 3 instead. So we're going to have f of 3 equals, and then x is going to be replaced with 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. So in this case, f of 3 is equal to 5. Here's another example. We have g of x is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 1, and we have to solve for g of 5. So you might be asking yourself, well, why is it a g now instead of an f? Does that change anything that we do? Nope, it doesn't change anything at all. Basically, the reason that we use the letter G is because it's the letter after F. So if you have two different equations going on in the same problem, then you would use F and G to not mix them up. But literally G is the same thing as F. Don't get confused over this. So we're going to do the same thing as before. We have X being replaced with 5 here. So whenever we see X in the other side of the equation, we also have to replace it with 5. So G of X is going to become G of 5 equals, and then we have an x here, x becomes 5 squared minus 2 times, and we have an x here, so that's also going to become 5, and then plus 1. So now we just need to solve this, and you may be confused about what we're going to do first, but we're just going to use that thing that you learned in elementary school and then never used again, PEMDAS. So the first step in PEMDAS is P, or parentheses, and we do have parentheses here, but it just has 5 in it. There's nothing to do in the parentheses. So we're going to move on to the second step, which is E, exponents. Do we have an exponent? Yes, we do. We have one right here, 5 squared. And 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. All right, we don't have any more exponents, so we're going to move on to this step. And this step can kind of confuse people. Remember, multiplication and division are the same step. You just have to do all of it from left to right. But in this case, we don't have any division, so that's not going to confuse us. So we do have a multiplication here, though. 2 times 5 is 10, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And then the final step is addition and subtraction from left to right. These are also the same step. So we have 25 minus 10 plus 1. All we have left is addition and subtraction, so we'll just do it from left to right. So 25 minus 10 is 15 plus 1, and that is 16. So g of 5 is equal to 16. That's our answer. All right, here's another example. What I'd like you to do is go ahead and pause the video, try to solve this one for yourself, and then unpause and see if you did it right. All right, so we're going to do this exactly the same way, except this time we have a negative number. So it might get a little more confusing, but we'll do it the same way. So we have f of x equals 3x minus 6, and x is being replaced with minus 2. So let's do the same thing with this. So 3 times x becomes negative 2 minus 6. And now in PEMDAS, we don't have anything to do in parentheses. We don't have exponents. So we're going to move on to multiplication and division, which we have right here. We have a multiplication. So 3 times 2 is 6, but we do have one minus sign, so the minus sign has to carry over. And then minus 6 again. And then all that's left is minus 6 minus 6. So we lost $6 and then lost another $6, so we've lost $12. So there you go. Our final answer is f of negative 2 equals minus 12. All right, here's another example. Go ahead and pause the video, try to solve this one yourself, and then unpause and see how you did. All right, so we've got another negative number here, so we'll see how this goes. We are replacing x with negative 3. So we'll go ahead and do that on this side as well. So we have negative 3 squared. Now you may notice that I'm putting the minus 3 in parentheses, and the reason for that is because all of x needs to be squared. You'll see why that makes a difference in a second. So now we have negative 3 squared. Well, that's negative 3 times negative 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And then negative 3 times negative 3, well, that's 2 negatives, and 2 negatives make a positive. So this is going to stay positive 9. And here's how that would be different if I didn't put parentheses around this. If I had written it as negative 3 squared, then that would actually be negative 3 squared. And 3 squared is 9. So it would have become negative 9. That's why it helps to put x in parentheses so that you know that all of this is being squared. and then that's just plus 2. And 9 plus 2 is 11. So in this case, our final answer is g of -3 is equal to 11. So now you know how to solve for a function like f of x or g of x, and maybe it brought you back to your elementary school days of doing PEMDAS, just with a little more algebra than normal. If you think you've got the hang of this, then the next thing you should probably learn is how to graph them. So if you're not confident in your ability to graph, then you can watch this video where I explain the very basics of graphing. And as always, if you're confused about anything, go ahead and leave it in the comments and I'll be happy to help you. Thanks for watching.